I'm a 27-year-old guy currently out of town, and my best friend spotted my 26-year-old girlfriend of 7 years with another man. I came across an email. A little background. Alright, so here's the deal. I'm currently out of town visiting my folks for about a week. My grandma, who lives with my parents, is really sick, and I wanted to spend some time with her before things get worse. My girlfriend, whom I've been with for 7 years, just had surgery and wasn't up for the 5-hour car ride with me. Completely understandable, considering she's still dealing with a lot of pain. I've been here for 3 days now, and I'll be staying another 2 before heading back home. My girlfriend and I have always had a pretty solid relationship. We click well, communicate about nearly everything, and rarely argue. When we do have disagreements, it's usually about chores around the house, which, to be fair, is often my fault because I leave most of it to her. Now, this is relevant. Right before I left, we had an argument about the housework. Since her surgery, she hasn't been able to keep up with cleaning and laundry, and the place started to look pretty messy. She's a bit of a neat freak, and I'm more okay with clutter, but even by my standards, it was getting out of hand. I told her I'd clean up, and I did, but she kept pushing for more to be done. I thought I had tidied up enough, but it just wasn't to her standards. Now that I've been away, I realize I was a bit wrong, and I've apologized to her over text. She seems to have forgiven me. She didn't really mean to snap, she's just in pain, exhausted, and wants more help around the house. I tend to only see the clutter when I clean, but I don't think about stuff like vacuuming or dusting. I thought we'd cleared the air, but she's been really distant since I've been here. We've hardly talked at all. And then this happened. My best friend texted me today saying he saw her at a hardware store with some guy. He described him as tall, with long, dark hair and a full beard. This description doesn't match any of her friends. He said she was leaning on his arm as they walked around the store, and then they left together and headed to a chain restaurant across the street. My girlfriend has never given me a reason to think she'd cheat. We've always been open about crushes or if someone else expresses interest. But seeing her leaning on this guy has me worried. At the same time, she leans on all her friends when they're walking, especially if there's a lot of walking involved. She has a heart condition that's worsened by her recent surgery, and she's fainted a few times before. She always holds onto my arm when we're out and about, and I've seen her do the same with her girlfriends. So maybe she was just having a dizzy spell and leaned on this guy for support, whoever he is. I mentioned that I was thinking about cutting my trip short and heading home early. After a full day of not talking to me, she finally replied, saying, "No, stay with your family. You hardly ever see them. Spend as much time with your grandma as you can. She doesn't have much time left, and having you there would mean a lot to her. It's sweet that you miss me, though. I miss you too." Not wanting to seem accusatory, I texted back, "Hey, Mike said he saw you at the hardware store today and wanted to say hi, but was in a rush." She replied, "I wasn't at the hardware store today, just the grocery store." That made me a bit suspicious. My girlfriend doesn't really use social media. She's a high school teacher and only has a Facebook account, which she keeps strictly professional. There's basically nothing personal on there. So, feeling uneasy, I checked her email. I know, I feel awful about it, but I was getting worried. I found a few emails from some random Gmail address, something like goodguy513. There was no info on the sender's Google Plus profile, and a quick search didn't reveal any other linked accounts. The conversation went like this. "Goodguy513, sorry about emailing you. I broke my phone on the job and won't replace it until my contract is up. Girlfriend, that's okay, I get it. Are we still good for Saturday? Goodguy513, yeah, I'm free. Is your boyfriend already gone? Girlfriend, yep, he left a few days ago. He won't be back until Wednesday, I think. Goodguy513, cool, sounds good then. Girlfriend, do you want to grab dinner or pizza? My treat. We'll need some fuel, otherwise we'll be exhausted. Goodguy513, that's nice of you. Not sure yet. We'll figure it out that day. I'm using my dad's phone for now since he barely uses it. I'll text you from there and let you know it's me. That's the whole conversation, and now I'm even more worried. Should I head home early? Confront her over the phone? Or just wait until I get back as planned. Edit. To add a bit more context, she recently had a hysterectomy and has only been home from the hospital for a short time. She's low on energy, and we haven't been intimate since the surgery. She says she can't because of the pain, and I believe her since I've seen the stitches and they look rough. Other than slowly walking, she can't do much. My best friend and his fiancée have been mutual friends of ours for years. We hang out together often, and he knows my girlfriend well enough to recognize her when he sees her. I'm not sure if this matters at all, but a guy can hope. I mean, my birthday is in 10 days. Edit 2. My friend swung by my house and spotted a white truck parked in the driveway. The plates were from a neighboring state, and it was getting pretty late there. Edit 3. He drove by again, and the truck was still there. The plates were definitely from another state, but I know my girlfriend has some family in that area. We don't see her family often, usually just during the holidays, and she's not super close with them. Her family runs a construction business, but they're mostly into laying concrete. I don't think they have carpenters or anything, though I could be wrong. I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, because she's never given me a reason not to trust her. You guys have been a huge support, keeping me grounded through this, so thank you. Some of you think she might be planning a surprise for my birthday, which I'd love to believe. Others think she's cheating, which I really hope isn't true. I don't want to leave early and miss precious time with my grandma. Some of you suggested having my friend check up on her, but I'm worried it might make me seem paranoid if there's nothing going on. Edit 4. Current communication with my girlfriend. I've called her 3 times and sent her a bunch of texts. I wasn't accusatory, just asked what she was up to and if she had any friends over. Basically, here's what's up. We live in a bit of a dead zone when it comes to cell service. It's a small town surrounded by miles of cornfields, so our reception is spotty at best. The last time we spoke, she told me she was doing laundry and working on a quilt she's making for my mom. Both the laundry room and her sewing room are in the basement, where there's absolutely no signal. A little while ago, she sent me a picture of our cat sprawled all over her quilting supplies, and another saying she missed me. It's possible she hasn't seen my texts because she's been down in the basement working all day. She can easily lose hours down there between her projects and Netflix. She always calls me before bed when we're apart, so I'm just waiting for that call now. Final edit. Still no call from her, but if she's been in the basement quilting and binge-watching Netflix, that's pretty normal. She can be down there for hours. I don't know if the truck is still there. My friend checked around 9 p.m., and it was still parked in the driveway. I'm not going to make him go out again. I'm thinking of just sticking to my original plan and heading home when I was supposed to. If something's going on, at least I'll have some proof. I'll update you all as soon as I'm able or when I'm allowed to post again. This waiting game is the worst. I'm going to pick up where I left off and walk you through what happened next. My girlfriend finally called me around 1 a.m., apologizing and saying she lost track of time because she was busy. She normally calls me around 11:30. That's when I decided to save the texts from Mike, take a screenshot of the email, and confront her when I got home. I figured it was better to let things play out a few more days and spend time with my family than rush back or accuse her on the phone, only to find out she was planning something for my birthday. That would probably ruin her trust in me for good. When she called, nothing seemed off. She asked about my family, sent me a few pictures of the quilt she was making for my mom, told me she loved me, and promised to call again in the morning. Monday morning, my grandma took a turn for the worse, and my parents, my brother, and I all went to the hospice to be with her during her final hours. In the very early hours of Tuesday, she passed away from lung cancer. So yeah, if you're reading this, put down the cigarettes. We were basically her only family. My dad's an only child, she didn't have any siblings left, and since she moved in with my parents, she hadn't kept in touch with anyone else. Instead of planning a traditional funeral, we decided to fulfill her wishes and have her buried next to her husband, as she had already pre-planned and paid for in her will. We spent Tuesday gathered in the living room, sharing stories and looking through old photos, putting together an updated album. It was actually kind of nice. Throughout it all, my girlfriend kept in touch with me and even spoke to my parents, who absolutely adore her. During this time, I decided to let go of everything else and focus solely on my family. Opinions on what was happening with my girlfriend were split, but my gut feeling was that she was planning something for me. Some of you said I was sticking my head in the sand, ignoring the possibility that she was cheating, blowing this guy, hooking up with him in my bed, or going on some sort of penis-themed carnival ride, as one of you colorfully put it. Others thought I trusted her too much and that it would end up biting me in the ass. And then there were those who believed I wasn't trusting her enough, letting my friend's observation cloud my judgment. There's a bit of truth in what some of you said. A lot of people wondered if my friend Mike might have it out for my girlfriend, or if he had some kind of thing for her. I can assure you that's not the case at all. Mike's been cheated on before, so he's just looking out for me. If I had asked him to confront her, he would have done it in a heartbeat. But even he thought something seemed off, knowing us as long as he has. I told him to let it be, and that I'd handle everything when I got back. If there really wasn't anything going on, I didn't want to risk hurting her feelings when she was just trying to do something nice for me. I let my girlfriend know that I'd be home on Wednesday, but planned to have breakfast with my family first. She asked me to call her when I got back into the state. That was the plan, but honestly, I was feeling homesick and just needed to see her, so I hit the road around 5 a.m. With minimal stops and light traffic, I made it home by about 10:30. As I pulled up, the first thing I saw was that white truck still parked in the driveway. I swallowed my nerves and walked up to the front door, trying to convince myself that I trusted her and that there was nothing wrong. When I stepped inside, which opens straight into our living room, I locked eyes with this guy. He was sitting on the floor, cross-legged, wearing sweatpants and a tank top, eating cereal off the coffee table. He looked a bit younger than I expected based on Mike's description, but he had the full beard and long black hair tied back. He looked up and said casually, "Hey man, welcome back." I just stood there, feeling like I was wading through some kind of surreal dream, searching for the right words. Before I could say anything, my girlfriend walked down the hallway, smiled, and hugged me. "Hey, I'm so sorry about your grandma. Any chance you remember my cousin Max? I know it's been a while." I stared at the guy, racking my brain, but I had no recollection of ever meeting him before. I just had this sinking feeling in my gut and said, "I don't think we've met." He's Aunt Ellen's son, the one that lives in the other state. And that's when it clicked. Her Aunt Ellen's husband, Uncle Joe, was her second husband. Ellen had married young but split from Max's dad pretty early on, and Max lived with his father in another state. Max's dad is fully Italian, which explained the look. All I could manage was, "Wow, man, you've really grown up." Max just laughed and said, "Yeah, I've changed a bit." The last time I saw this kid, he was a chubby, acne-covered teenager with neon green hair, wearing a tap-out shirt. He had come out of puberty looking like a completely different person. I think I last saw him 4 or 5 years ago at Christmas. My girlfriend asked if we could talk, so I followed her into our bedroom. She explained that Max was moving back in with Aunt Ellen and picking up a part-time job at the family construction company while planning to attend a local college. My girlfriend had promised to help him fill out his FAFSA, polish his entrance essay, and prep for his placement tests in exchange for some work. Apparently, he had gone to a trade school for carpentry during his last 2 years of high school, and her dad said he was pretty good at it. She mentioned that she had something planned for my man cave, but they ran into some hiccups, and it was taking longer than expected. She even brought our Xbox upstairs into the living room and made me promise not to go into the basement for any reason until my birthday. I considered pretending like nothing had worried me, but I value the honesty we share. So I told her that Mike had seen her out with Max and it had made me a little anxious. She laughed it off and said, "Oh, I didn't realize he saw us together." I thought you meant he just saw me." She explained that they were shopping separately at opposite ends of the store and only met up at the checkout. She asked why I hadn't just asked her who it was, saying she could have told me about Max without spoiling the work he was doing. I told her I didn't want to make her feel like I was accusing her of anything, which she seemed to appreciate. Max is going to stay a few days longer than planned, which she could have mentioned, but compared to everything else, it doesn't feel like a big deal anymore. She seemed a bit hurt that I even thought for a second she might cheat, but she said she was glad I didn't rush home, guns blazing. So, I think we're all right. Just to be safe, I'll be extra sweet to her for a while. Edit 1. Just to clarify, Max is not moving in with us. He's moving back in with his mom. He was supposed to be done with his work before I got home, but they ran into a few snags, so he's staying a few extra days to finish up, and then heading back to his mom's. Edit 2. For those asking why she didn't mention Max, she thought Mike only saw her by herself in the paint aisle, not with him. She likely didn't want me to worry at all, especially since Max was supposed to be done before I got back. I vaguely remembered her mentioning Max was in carpentry school, but I didn't realize it was a high school trade program, and I had been picturing him as much older. I think I got him mixed up with his older stepbrother. I've had my brother over when she's been out of town, and it's never been an issue. We have a pretty open-door policy when it comes to close friends and family, so having him over really isn't a problem for us. I get why it might seem like an issue to some people, but it's just not in our relationship. I think she just wanted me to focus on my family without worrying about what was happening at home. She would have told me about the college stuff if I had asked, but since I didn't, she kept it under wraps to avoid any distractions.